I'm Coca Trevino. I'm the program manager for Big Medium. Welcome to the professional development side of Creative Standard, which features presentations that address topics identified by members of our creative community. Today we have a workshop by the amazing Jonathan Chaka Mahone titled The Artist's Responsibility, a Spiritual, Material, and Financial Perspective. Well, officially welcome and thank you so much for joining us here in Creative Standard Programs.
Cool, is that my cue right there?
That is your cue. I'm welcoming you and asking you to take over.
Okay,
Oh,
everybody.
I have to mention, people, y'all are welcome to ask questions. You have the Q&A button and you can interject, and I'll be reading the questions out loud for everyone that wants to interject. Chaka is pretty open for us to ask while the topic is being discussed.
I think my wife might be logging in or something right now.
Log in.
Key, I think you're gonna have to mute or turn the video off or something, because you just popped in. I don't know what's going on, but it looks like, Key, are you logging in right now? Anyway, yeah, you popped onto the screen. Anyway, we are gonna get this started. Welcome, everybody. Again, my name is Jonathan Chaka Mahone. I'm an artist here in Austin, and I wanted to share with you kind of my perspective and my approach to creation, to being an artist. And I prepared a little, presentation, and I'm just going to share that. Feel free to ask questions as we're going along. I know Coca said she's going to, pop in with any questions. I love it. I love for this to be as interactive as possible. But I did gather some thoughts of just kind of my journey, and just excited to share them with you. So I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Oh, it says I can't share the screen. Coca, can you help me with that?
Yes, give me 1 second. We thought we had everything figured out. Guess not.
Are you seeing a third screen on your thing?
No, we are not seeing it. We can see the second name, but it's muted and without video access. So I think it should be fine.
Okay, got you. Because I'm seeing 3. That's cool.
You should be able to present now.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Welcome. Artist Responsibility, a Spiritual, Material, and Financial Perspective. Before we, get too deep, we got to talk about what does it mean? What is spirit? What does it mean to be spiritual? I think a lot of people today say, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, but do we have a context for that? Do we have an understanding of that? And so for me, I put together just like a few points of what it means to me on the surface of it. It gets a lot deeper than this, but I wanted to share just a few of my thoughts of what that means when I hear the word spiritual. It means you have a concern with how everything is connected beyond logical and scientific explanation. Beyond someone just saying that this is a tree, you understand that the tree is connected to all these other things. And it's not just, you don't just rely on what people tell you in terms of logic of how things work. You understand that there's other things deeper and surrounding those things. You're inspired by the connections that you have when people come together, and you understand a kind of collective oneness. You see problems holistically, understanding that there's always a root beneath what you can see. So, when you encounter someone that's sick, or when you encounter someone that is, irritable, or has a situation of maybe a mental health issue, you understand that there's a history and there's something underneath that is causing what you're seeing, is a part of what you're seeing. There's a willingness to confront and explore emotions. This is a huge one right here. A lot of folks that you see in kind of guru situations, or people that are considered high, shamans or spiritual leaders, a lot of them don't really deal with their emotions and don't really explore it. They present themselves in a certain way, but it's a surface representation. If you're a spiritual person, you're guided by spirit, then you have to be willing to confront the dark things that are inside of you, the traumas that you face, the difficult situations that you've been through, that create the emotional makeup that you are today, right? And there's a belief in a universal laws that govern our existence. That's what it means to me to be a spiritual person. Now, most of us, you know, are governed by not, or we're taught to be governed not necessarily by spirit, but by what we can accumulate. That's the capitalist, that's the materialist kind of world that we're brought into from a very young age. And everything is defined, it's compartmentalized, it's formalized, it's labeled. You know, you have a doctor that, you know, works on your eyes. You have a doctor that works on your feet. You have a doctor, you know, it's not a holistic thing where they can look at your whole body and understand how everything's connected. You got to go to this doctor for this doctor for that. Everything is compartmentalized, right? You go here for this type of food, you go here for that, right? Everything is labeled. You know, they have, if you're a musician, you have to go to a record label. You have to have a genre that people can easily define and go to a store and buy, right? The world around you is to be controlled, right? The outside is the wild, you know, it's if it's not tamed, if it's not cut down, if it's not managed, then it's considered wild or you know, savage, or just something that needs to be somehow contained. Land, air, and water is something that you can own, right? It's something that, you know, you can put borders on. Like, instead of seeing this as a globe that we all share, we create borders, states, countries, things like that, that separate us, that aren't actually real things. We have maps that mark out land, but it's not actually real, but that's what we're taught is real. And for us to follow those guidelines, those structures, those formations. We're taught that, you know, we're separate. You know, we are superior to plants and the earth and animals. We're taught to just use those things for our own benefit, and rarely are encouraged to give back and to feel that connection. Everything is literally for sale in this type of mindset. And you need a job, you need money to exist or be valuable. You know, if you're not contributing to the tax base, then you're basically uncounted. You're basically deemed less than, right? This is the capitalist, this is the materialist mindset. So what I want to state and make very clear, like, all the choices that you have made and experience that you have had got you here to this point, right? So you got an email and it said, it gave you a description of what I was going to be talking about. You looked at it, you said, you clicked on it, you RSVP'd, you got the thing, and now you're here, right? Well, that's life. Every decision that you've made has led you to this very moment, this very second right now. And you can't separate yourself from what you did 10 minutes ago and what you did 10 years ago or 20 years ago, or however long you've been here. That's all who you are right now. And having a good sense of that, having a good view of that, a collective, a holistic sense of that, gives you a deeper sense of who you are. So you're that plus what you came here with. Now that is the spiritual side, where we believe that you came here with an identity, you came here with a purpose. So you are your purpose plus all of the experiences that you had. So some of the experiences that you've had may have kept you off of your purpose, and that might be a reason why you're not happy, or that might be a reason why, you know, you made certain decisions. But following that thing that you came here with, that direction that you came here with, those things that you did as a child naturally that may have somehow gotten, you may have been shifted away from, that is who you are. Before all the rules and the definitions and the programs that, you know, are laid over top of you. So with that said, it's really important that you take responsibility for who you are. You take responsibility for what you do in the world. You can't, at a certain point when you become an adult, you cannot put it off on other people why you are a certain way. Yes, how that person treated you when you were a child has impacted you, but processing it and then realizing that you can learn from it and that you can heal that trauma is about taking responsibility. Because if you stay in that place where that person or that situation hurts you, you're never going to be able to be in the moment. You're going to constantly be thinking about that. You're constantly reliving what happened in the past. So being responsible is about being able to respond to what's happening around you, the needs of others, the needs of yourself, right? You've probably met people in the past where they're just constantly talking about the past. They're constantly talking. It's like they're right here in the moment, but they're constantly either joyfully like, oh, I wish I could go back then, or just about how the hardships that they face. And they're constantly, it's like they're in this moment, but they're constantly living in the past. You want to bring yourself into the present moment so that you can visualize yourself here now and also visualize yourself into the future. So we don't want to, we don't want to give this away. We want to pull from it. There's a power in taking responsibility over your life. And that's where I think the power of the artist comes when you fully realize yourself as an artist, is that you take responsibility for the things that you're feeling and you bring them out so that you can share them with people. So pulling from that place and letting it guide you is powerful. So the artist's responsibility. These are some things that I feel like, these are some things that guide me, and these are some of the things that I feel like are my responsibility as an artist. So inspire others to find their power. Create space for possibility. You know, the artists that inspired me the most, the James Baldwins, the Bob Marleys, the Nikki Giovanni's, the Ralph Ellisons, even the athletes, you know, Roberto Clemente, like Michael Jordan, the people that really took their craft to a level that they recreated something for you. They gave you an idea of what's possible beyond what you've already experienced. They explore and question reality. You know, I think it's important as an artist for us to challenge what is deemed reality, because what is deemed reality is something that we are all collectively accepting. But artists help us to unaccept things that we've been taught that may be leading us in the wrong direction. You show the world from a unique angle. You know, how many times have you heard the lyrics of a song and they just made you think about something you've experienced in a different way? Like, I never thought of it like that. That's the power and that's the responsibility of an artist. This is a big one, helping people process their emotions. You know, I think that one of the great things that, you know, art can do is just move people, and you know, just seeing a piece of art sometimes, or just hearing a song can tap into a feeling that you've had and help you process it. And the last thing is build community. I feel like, you know, the highest level of like a truly exceptional artist is someone that can really build community and bring people together through that art and through that creation. So this right here is my foundation as a business person. This is my foundation as a human being. The 4 agreements. This is literally my Bible. I give this book away probably like 4 or 5 times a year to people. These four principles are my guide. So 1, be impeccable with your word. 2, don't take anything personally. First, be impeccable with your word. What does that mean? That means you're trying your best to, what you say is what you deliver. What you say you're going to do is what you end up doing. When you tell someone something, there's an integrity behind it that connects you with what you're saying. A lot of people just saying things out their mouth that they have no intention of backing up, right? But I feel like you get the highest reward, you get the highest result when you're just impeccable, when you're really about what you're saying. And it's not always possible to be that way in every moment. But when you strive for that, you create something wonderful. 2, don't take anything personally. This basically means like things are universal, not personal. You may feel like someone responded to you in a certain way because they don't like you, but they might have just been having a bad day. You don't know what they had experienced before they came into contact with you that made them tell you to go somewhere with yourself, right? It's not always personal. You can't allow everything to become a personal attack or something you feel like, well, see, that's why nobody likes me, or see, it's not always about you. And it's important to understand is that, you know, there are things happening all around you that you're not in control of. So you can't take everything personally. Don't make assumptions. It's clear, like, you know, it's like when you make an assumption about what's happening around you, you're projecting your story into whatever you're observing. So be aware of your bias and don't insert your story over top of people or over top of situations where you make an assumption that, you know, it's not actually what's happening in the moment. Always do your best. It's simple. You're not always going to wake up and feel your best. You're not always going to be able to do it exactly the way you want it, but do it to the fullest that you can. We always say, like, you know, 10 or 10,000. As a performer, you know, if there's 10 people in the crowd, I'm going to strive to give you the same performance I would give for 10,000, 100,000 people. These are principles that guide my life. So let's get into Riders Against the Storm. Me and my wife have a hip hop group called Riders Against the Storm. Some of y'all have been to our shows. Some of y'all are familiar with that name and what we do. That name starts with these women right here. These are the founders of a group called Sweet Honey in the Rock. And they started singing. They were all Black female a cappella group that sang together and sang freedom songs, sang songs to inspire people and uplift people. They started in the 70s, but Bernice Reagan was a part of you know, the civil rights movement and sang these freedom songs to uplift people, to give them courage, to inspire them to keep moving. So they have a song called Ella's Song, and they took the lyrics from the song from a speech by civil rights activist Ella Baker. And in the song, they talk about passing the torch to the young who will run against the storm. So we're riders against the storm. And we took our name from them as we are the next generation from them. My parents are their age. They gave us the torch. It's time for us to carry on the legacy of the freedom fighters, of the people that want to create a world that's more just, and where people can be free and self-express themselves in the way that they choose. So these women are at the foundation, at the very beginning of our journey of us coming together. Our name comes from them. And, you know, we honor them by, you know, continuing to make art because they inspired us to do it. So we've been doing this. This is me and my wife here, Key Dada, and we've been married for 13 years. And, you know, we've been making music for 15 years, 16 years. And, you know, we got into this thing together in terms of being musicians, in terms of a career. And the journey has not been easy. There's definitely been a storm that we've been riding against. And it's the foundation that we had of our connection to people that were fighting for justice and community. It's a connection to a spiritual foundation of understanding that it's bigger than us that kept us going through, you know, the storms that we faced. And a lot of those things were financial. You know, I was, before we decided to, you know, pursue music full time, I was a high school teacher. I ran a nonprofit arts organization. We were taking the youngsters that were, you know, bombing and tagging in the street and getting locked up. We were taking them, me and my friend Angel Garcia, aka Vase One, we're taking them into a space that we had rented for ourselves as a studio. And we started bringing them in there and teaching them how to, you know, screen print and how to, you know, just do graphic design, and teaching them various things. At the time they were doing the airbrush t-shirts and stuff. So we taught them how to do that. I was doing all these things before we decided to have a career in music. So all these things, the women that taught me, the mentors from Direct Action for Rights and Equality, a social justice organization in Providence, Rhode Island, that taught me about how to stand up, about how to use our voice, and also the importance of community connection. All of that baked into us, you know, becoming riders against the storm and pursuing our career. So when we came down to Austin 10 years ago, we came down with all of that. We didn't just come down with, oh, let's, we're just going to be musicians. And no, we came down here with a sense of ourselves, a sense of community, a sense of the importance of art and how it can empower. We were throwing house parties, while we were in Providence, and these house parties people would talk about them for weeks and months after and ask us, when is the next house party going to be? And we realized the power and the transformation that can happen when people just have that good feeling and connection. And we brought all of that knowledge and experience down here to Austin. So the business of music. As a musician, yes, you have to make money, but I found that, making money for me, it derived from my kind of connection with the 4 agreements. So being impeccable with your word. So when you're booking shows, when you're finding band members, when you're scheduling things with the band members or with people that you're partnering with and setting goals, you have to make sure that what you said you're going to do, you do it. And even though people around you may not be doing that, you may see people taking shortcuts or people, falling off and not doing, you sticking with that, you being true to that will bring about success ultimately. That's what I've experienced. When you're straight up with your band members and things like that, when you're honest, they may not understand you in the moment. And they may be making their own assumptions about what you're doing or how you're doing. But as long as you're true and you remain integral, eventually they'll understand why you made certain choices. So just being transparent and being impeccable with your word is super important if you want to be successful over a long term. Now we see in the music industry that there's a lot of people it's one of the most shiesty and most cutthroat industries that you can find. So people have success very quickly, but you see that a lot of them don't have long-term success, right? People go up real fast because they take shortcuts or they do things that maybe are against their own character to get to that position, but they also fall off really fast. So you have to ask yourself as an artist, what is your goal? I know personally, our goal was to be self-sustaining and to be able to, have a certain integrity with what we're doing. So we weren't trying to just jump up and be here right away. We were willing to be ourselves fully, express ourselves fully, and have the foundation that we had and not compromise it in order to build the foundation. So you have to ask yourself, what are you really willing to do? Some people are willing to sacrifice or compromise their own values in order to achieve a goal. And I think the music industry and a lot of industries encourage that. It's capitalism, right? It's capitalize, exploit, get there fast, get it done. And that may result in something short-term very fast, but it also has an impact. You see a lot of people in the music industry, getting addicted to drugs and, ending up, without money because they didn't teach themselves, they didn't learn the actual industry. So, you have to look at those stories. People's lives are there for you to learn lessons. And, when you look and you see these things happening, learn from them and try not to repeat those things. Don't take anything personally. Things are going to go wrong, man. Things are going to go wrong left and right. So-and-so is not going to show up to the gig, or, you're going to forget about something and miss a meeting or whatever, but don't make it a personal thing. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be like, see, that's why I'm not going to make it. Or that's why this isn't going to happen. Or, you have to keep that mindset of where you're headed and what you want in your mind at all times. Because the things that we say to ourselves, regardless of whether they're positive or negative, is what we end up thinking, right? So, if you tell yourself all the time that you're not worthy and that's what you end up, actualizing. So your spirit doesn't know the difference between positive and negative talk. So the more you can eliminate the negative talk that you're bringing to yourself, the more positive things that can happen. So, you don't personalize it. Try to keep it outside of that realm. You're human. You're going to make mistakes. And allow that to the people that you're around too. They're going to make mistakes too. Understand that. Don't make assumptions. Sometimes a lot of times you don't. You think you know, but you don't know. So don't just assume the story you're telling yourself is true. Don't just assume that. Ask questions. Listen to your gut. Get out of your headspace, that constantly keeps running the same story about your life and about people. Ask questions. Don't just see things for face value. Again, there's always something underneath that you're not seeing that may be the root of what you're experiencing with someone or within yourself or just in life in general. And always do your best. I spoke on this. 10 to 10,000. It never matters for us if there's 10 people in the crowd or 10,000. Show up. Show up. Don't worry about showing out. So much today is about Instagram and how you look and what it looks like and everything like that. Showing out is cool, but show up. Be present. Be in the moment with what you're doing. Allow yourself to feel where you are and feel the energy of where you are and bring your best self. Give your best regardless. So these are a few things, few accolades. Some people may be familiar with some of this, but I just wanted to share some of the things that we've accomplished, doing things our way, doing things according to some of the things that I've discussed so far. We're the first hip hop band to ever win Band of the Year in the Austin Chronicle Music Awards. We ended up winning it 3 years in a row. There's only 2 bands that ever won it 3 times, and that's Los Lonely Boys and Spoon. We're very proud of that fact. That might never happen again. And, we did it. I got to send a shout out to Dave Johnson, who was our drummer at the time, and he was encouraging us to even, submit and try to win that award the first year. And I was like, man, whatever, these awards, you know what I mean? And I didn't really, like the first year, I didn't even really care about it, but he encouraged. He was the spark for that. He said, no, let's do it. Let's go for it. And we ended up winning, and then we won 2 years in a row. So I have to give him a shout out for that encouragement, that inspiration to do that. The city of Austin proclaimed Ross Day in 2013. That we turned that day into a festival. The next year, we took $400 and literally threw a festival in the Kenny Durham's backyard with Gina Chavez and our friends, Jackie Vincent. Before Jackie Vincent was had 100,000 followers on Facebook. We were just like, we love what you're doing, and we want you to be involved in this celebration. And it started very, very humbly, literally. And we in that one event, we raised over $1,000 that we gave to Kenny Durham's that year. That was had to do some restoration of their facade. So we were able to help Kenny Durham's through the creation of this event. And we ended up running Ross Day for 6 years, from 2014 to 2019. And it was a great event for the community. The ACL Music Festival, we played that in 2015. The first hip hop band to play Blues on the Green, we did that with Shaky Graves. Shout out to Shaky Graves. And, him stepping up and signing the petition for the Black Lives Music Fund. We were Black Fred awardees in 2015. We funded our own tour in Europe. This is huge. This is a dream of ours that we realized. We didn't have a label. We didn't have any company, sponsoring us. We did it ourselves. We funded it ourselves. And that was a huge accomplishment for us because, every time you have something in your mind or your heart to do and you manifest it, it gives you a boost. It gives you confidence. It gives you understanding like, okay, we did that. Well, what's next, right? So that was a turning point, or definitely a booster for us to say, look, we did this. We're looking around like, oh snap, we we did this. That's cool. In 2018, we were Lululemon ambassadors, and I got to be honest with y'all, they approached us during South by Southwest, and they were like, we want you to be ambassadors. I had never even heard of Lululemon at that point, and I went online and I looked up, and I was like, oh, this is $1 billion company. What? So we ended up, teaming up with them, and I told them basically it predicated our relationships like, okay, we'll become ambassadors, but you have to create opportunities for Black men to become yoga instructors. So they created a scholarship which allowed myself and 4 other Black men to get a 200-hour yoga training. So that relationship sparked some change in Austin, and we're really proud of that. I'm gonna play this video. Just watch this video.
We are riders against the storm. Hip-hop duo living in Austin, Texas. We bring people together through music and believe in its power to heal our community. Our journey in music takes us to amazing places around the world and introduces us to some incredible people. We want to take you on a ride with us to cities across the globe as we meet people with inspiring stories and innovative visions. So have a seat, or sit back, and let's get uplifted.
Yep. So we're on our way to go see Mr. Richard Overton today.
He's 112 years old today, and we are celebrating the eldest man in America.
In America, 3rd oldest man in the world. And he lives in East Austin. So we've been working and organizing a party. There's gonna be a big celebration at his house today, and that's where we're headed right now.
Uplifted!
Yeah.
At 112 years old, Richard Overton is America's oldest man. He is a World War II veteran, and he has met everyone from President Obama to Steve Harvey. Today is May 11th, and it just happens to be his birthday. So we are stopping by his home of 73 years on Austin's east side to go for a ride and talk a bit about his life.
We met Mr. Overton in January, and we found out that his family, is paying $480, $500 a day, $15,000 a month to keep him in the same house that he's lived in for 73 years. So we felt like it was important not only to just celebrate him, but also do a little fundraising today. So we're hoping that people come out not just with the love to say hey, but also with the love to help him and his family, give him the support that he needs.
17 months ago, the Overton family started a GoFundMe page and received over $200,000. We want to make sure we send those numbers into the stratosphere with this party as a launch pad.
What I love about the fact that he's alive at 112 years old is that he's done so on his own terms. And he drinks whiskey every day. He smokes cigars every day.
12 cigars. 12 cigars.
Every day. And he eats ice cream almost all the time.
Yeah, butter pecan.
Butter pecan.
Pecan. Is it pecan?
I don't know. It depends on what part of the South you're from.
Yeah,
or if you're from the
I'm
north.
from Pittsburgh. I say pecan.
Pecan, okay.
Already.
Pecans and pecans. So what would you want to eat every day? What would you want to consume every day, knowing that everyone's like, no, you ain't gonna get to 100 if you eat that. What would you want to eat every day? Like whatever in your face.
I don't know. But I would definitely be doing whatever would make me happy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're pulling up now, y'all, up to the house. People are already lining.
People are already, you have to see this whole site. It's glorious.
Y'all getting ready for more, and we live with the most, so we put on a show, yeah. All that you do is with you right now. What you gonna do when we start that countdown? Hope you can do the flow, 'cause we're gonna step close and we're ready to blow, yeah.
Well, happy birthday, Mr. Overton. How you feeling?
I feel all right.
You feel all right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. We're so happy to have you, man. We're so happy to have you. 112, huh?
I guess so. When they actually, I'm 190.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody's coming out to see you and everything. Does that feel good?
Too good, man.
Yeah, too good.
Half of them could have stayed at home.
That's one thing. Y'all want the real? You get the real
deal?
deal?
Got the real. Do you remember when you saw a car for the first time?
First car?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I bought it. I had to see it. I bought it.
What kind of car was it?
No, Ford open. Old Ford, just khaki top, looking like a burger. One of them old Fords.
Did you have to crank it?
Off and got me another car. I had 5 cars already.
Yeah. And you were driving till you were what, 109?
Yeah.
Yeah. We met a lot of people over the years.
Yeah, well,
What was it like meeting President Obama?
it's all right. That's another human. He's a human like y'all. He ain't no dog or pig or cat. He's a human.
Yeah. It's
About
true.
that. Hell, he's a human.
I hear that.
He's a dog.
Yeah.
Why you like whiskey so much?
Well, I live with whiskey.
Why you like it?
I
Why
bought it every day. I drink whiskey whenever I got ready, all day and all night. And act a fool. I didn't get drunk. I never went to jail. I never paid a fine.
Hey.
Never done nothing.
Just sip
And
the
I
whiskey.
drink whiskey just like you, but whiskey is a medicine, and you take it right.
Hey.
That's so
It makes you
Right.
feel good.
That's true.
You don't have to get drunk every time you get whiskey.
That's right.
Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Put some water and ice in it, and you have a good job. I'm gonna drink some today.
Hey.
At the state cemetery right there, Pop.
Yeah, sure is.
Uh-huh.
And y'all going there for I am. I'm going to that place.
What's your favorite kind of ice cream?
Oh, the cold.
You like rap music?
Rat. I ain't no rat.
I just
No.
Yeah,
Rap.
I rat music, cat music, anything. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Happy birthday. We love you, brother.
Happy
We love you.
birthday. Wow, that was amazing. Dome blown.
Wow, we're so happy that so much of Austin came out to celebrate this man and his legacy for a full day. It was amazing.
Together, we are making it happen. Over $100,000 has come in from donors around the globe since May 11th. If you would like to support, please go to the Overton's GoFundMe page now and make a donation. It takes a village, y'all.
Hey, everybody. We are so grateful for Lyft for keeping us.
So hope y'all enjoyed that as much as every time I watch that, I mean, it was amazing meeting him. I brought that to the table because what that experience showed us is the power that art has. It's another example of just the power that art has to bring community together, to celebrate members of our community. And through that process, what we did was, connected with an elder. And it's so important to not separate. Again, our society says the elders are over here, the baby boomers, whatever, this generation's over here, the young over here. It's like, no, bring all of those energies and all of those things together. And we're so much more powerful. Having met him and sat at his feet and just sat in his living room changed me personally. And it was such a blessing to have met people at Lyft when we did a South by Southwest show, and then asked them to be a part of us telling his story and sharing that with the world, and then having our sharing that lead to his family raising. Now, when we put that video out, they had raised over 100,000. They raised almost $250,000 within a few months. So that was just so powerful to experience that. And, he ended up staying in his home of over 70 years. That goal was accomplished. And, his last, few months, he ended up transitioning in December of that same year. His last birthday was special. And, it led, to this connection with his family. And that leads to these images here that you see. At the beginning of the pandemic, I posted this picture here. You can see me that actually was a part of a piece that was written in this Austin Statesman. I asked my wife to take a picture of me wearing the shirt. I was wearing the shirt, and this is the beginning of the pandemic, and I just wanted to send a message out to people to like keep going. And when I met Mr. Overton, he said when he met Steve Harvey asked him about his secret to longevity, and what he said to them was keep living, don't die. And it was such a powerful quote that I was like, I got to put this on a t-shirt. So what I did was I put it on a t-shirt. I got a company called Fine Southern Gentlemen to print the shirts for free and donate them for our event that we did for the birthday celebration that we did. They donated the shirts. Some were given to family and some were sold to raise money. And this is the shirt from that event. So I was wearing it at the beginning of the pandemic. I asked my wife to take a picture. I posted it on Facebook, and almost immediately people were like, I love that. Where can I get that shirt? And, you know, I responded on Facebook, like, you know, look, we did these shirts for the family, and, you know, we gave them away. This is the only shirt I have, you know, kind of sorry. But about 24 hours later, I was like, man, you know, I have a clothing line, which I'm going to share later. This is actually one of the designs right here. I was like, man, what if I, you know, made some shirts and, you know, sold them, and that could help us, like, because we were trying to figure out income streams at that point. Things were slowing down in certain arenas. I was like, maybe if I put these shirts up online, people would buy them, and that could help us kind of get through some difficult times. I reached out to the family, and they gave me their full blessing to create these shirts. And you see these folks here. These are just a few of the pictures that I've seen of people that have ordered these shirts. You see the different races, different types of people, all resonating with this message. And so also during this time, I entered a contest, a nationwide contest for a billboard design. And you see here on whatever side of the screen, it's on the left for me, you see that it was put on billboards in 17 different states. So you see from us deciding to be a part and help the Overton family in 2018, you know, help them to raise money and help to support them, to make that choice to support them, how that led to me being supported. And the connection between, you know, an elder who has transitioned and he's still helping, he's still blessing, even in his passing to the other side, what we call the ancestral realm, he's still helping and blessing me now. It's a powerful example of just why you can and should give from a place that's just coming from your heart, not about your own personal gain, but just do things because you believe it's right to do. And don't look for an immediate gratification from that. Know that you doing something that means something to yourself and others will eventually come back to you. If you believe that, then I'm here to tell you that that's my experience. And that's been a key, not the key, but a key to my success and our success as entrepreneurs, as business people, and creative people. So this is the clothing line. You guys can go to fresh2life.com. I got t-shirts and hoodies and posters and coffee mugs. This shirt right here is one of the top selling. Actually, these two shirts right now are some of the top selling shirts on the website. We see color came from the basic statement. You hear people say, well, I don't see color. It's like, you see color? We all see color. And it's silly for you to say that you don't see it. What I want you to do is to celebrate it. See it and celebrate it. Don't say you don't see it and negate it and erase it. The color is beautiful. Accept it. Give it space for it to be its full radiant self. Don't deny it by saying, oh, I don't see color. I don't see race. Yes, you do. We all do. You can't tell me you don't see this brown color that's in front of you. See it, embrace it, celebrate it. That's what change. That's how change can happen. Don't act like I don't see it. No, you do. You do. So that's where that came from. That's a really, a bestseller right now on the website. And this is another one. It's a design called Heartful. And, again, just like kind of putting out that positive energy of just the heart space and coming from the heart space. So you can find more stuff if you guys are interested at fresh2life.com. Of course, I got to plug that so you guys know a little bit about me as a visual artist and a designer. Now we're going to move into some more of the foundational stuff. So, when we're, some of us that, consider ourselves to be healers, or we're trying to do something positive in the community, we have to know that we're dealing with sickness in our community. But we also, to know what sickness is, we have to know what wellness is. And I feel like, to me, wellness is a state of being in good health, right? So that's emotional, generational, social, personal, spiritual, psychological, all of these things kind of checking in on all of these things and having them be in a place where at least you're seeing progress. All of them can't be at the same level, but you're constantly kind of checking in with yourself and, you know, your environment. How is that affecting you? You know, maybe some generational things, some things that happen, or some things in your family that you're trying to kind of get through. Emotion, all social, everything. You're checking in on these things. That's where, you know, wellness comes in, and where you can find it, or how you can find it. Now we know all of us, every single one of us, you know, has experienced some type of trauma in our life, some type of deeply disturbing or distressing experience. And that's where some of the best artists, you know, get their inspiration from. They've experienced a lot, and they can just put it out in a way that, you know, everyone can just understand it. But if we don't deal with our trauma, if we don't look at it and dig into it and understand all the different historical, social, and generational things that contribute to that, then it can end up destroying us, or it can end up, you know, creating dis-ease or imbalance. And, you know, striving for a wellness or a balance is something that I feel like can help you make better. When you're more in balance, you make better decisions, right? You know, when you're stressed and you're in traumatic situations, you don't always make the best decisions, right? And when you're a business and you're trying to achieve goals, decisions you make every day are so important. We're talking about America, the trauma of being in America. I had to leave a little silence there. Justified and legalized terror, genocide, the deliberate killing of a large group of people, especially those of a particular ethnic group or nation, slavery, any system in which principles of property law are applied to people, allowing individuals to own, buy, and sell other individuals as a form of property. Not dealing with this trauma, not being in denial about the trauma. See, if someone is abused sexually, you don't tell them to get over it. You listen to them, and you listen to their experience and their trauma, and you understand that some of the outbursts or some of the pain that you may see expressed is directly connected to that trauma of being abused, oppressed, neglected. But in this country, we, you know, seem to have a problem when people of color, particularly Black people, are talking about the trauma of simply being Black in America. And so on the you see the Black and white sides. On the Black, what I'm going to call the Black side, or the other side, you know, there's an inferiority complex, self-hate, depression, and substance abuse become the result of not dealing with that trauma. So in Black community, you see, you know, people literally not valuing themselves or others around them, and then responding to that trauma and things that they're not dealing with violently. So if you don't care, or you've been taught that the person next to you isn't worth anything, you don't have any problem blowing their brains out, or doing things to them that, you know, you wouldn't do to somebody that you respected or you were taught to respect. But you're not taught to respect yourself. You're not taught to love yourself. As a matter of fact, you're taught to hate yourself. So you destroying or taking another person's life, or just throwing away someone's life like it's nothing, it makes sense. On the other side, white people have been given a superiority complex, a sense of entitlement, a sense of just being born white is something amazing, and something that somehow you deserve certain privileges just because you're white. And so that creates guilt, because, you know, after a certain point, you know that's not the case. You see other people just as talented as you, may not be getting the same things that you're getting. You become guilty about it. That also leads to depression and substance abuse. So on the one side, you have, you know, gangs and gang banging and violence happening. On the other side, you have, you know, these mass shooters. You have these people that, because they've been taught that the world is supposed to somehow just fall in front of them, that it's just supposed to be easy for them because they're superior, they're better. Then when they don't see that, they don't experience that in real life, and they're having problems, then they want to take it out on other people. They want to, you know, the pain of not achieving or not feeling successful or not feeling seen or valued. They express that through going out and just killing everybody, because they don't value people on that side either. They don't value life on that side either, because it's about what they can get. And if they can't get what they think that they deserve, then you know what? Everybody gotta die. So it's the same. It's two sides of the same coin. And we've all been taught these things, and this affects us spiritually. So when you're dealing with these traumas, you have all these things going on, and you don't have community. It's a problem. We need community. We need to feel connected. Our lack of connection is a big problem, socially, culturally, in every way you can name. What is community? It's a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. So as artists, one of our biggest goals is to build community, create space for people to feel connection. All these things, you know, our neighborhood where we live, religion, all those things can be stripped away after a certain point, because at the end of the day, we're all here at the same time in this moment, 2020, on the same globe. And the more that we feel that connection with each other, the less we can be divided, and the more we can celebrate each other and create a more peaceful scenario for us all to be a part of. So healing comes through connection. Connection comes through community. I share this picture because this is I feel like it represents, you know, the spirit of Riders Against the Storm and the spirit that lives within me as an artist. This is taken from Ross Day 2016. We had Tamika Jones out there, we Sun Ra Orchestra, Mobley played that night. It's a beautiful night. I can't remember all the acts, I'm not gonna try to, but it was an amazing night. And this is taken from Mobley's performance, where he had everybody drumming together. And I feel like this kind of represents the best of what we do. You see different genders represented, you see different races represented, but they're all drumming together. And I feel like, you know, in that moment, you know, all those people were tuned into one drum beat, and you see the looks on their faces, the joy, you see what that brought to them. And, you know, magnifying this feeling into everything that we do. That may sound, you know, kind of esoteric, but this feeling right here is real. And bringing that intention of having that feeling in almost all the experiences that we create is a goal. And providing that to people allows us to make a living and to continue being artists, to continue to provide that experience. So it's reciprocal. That's what community is. I feel like the people that are in our collective, this represents. It's not just Black people, it's not just white people, it's not just Latinos. It's a mixture of the whole world reflected, and it's beautiful. So, you know, the needs of the one are the needs of the many. If we live in a community and, you know, somebody is hurting, then we're all hurting. You know, we can't just isolate them and say, so-and-so's, you know, crazy or whatever. No, if that person's hurting, then we're all hurting. And the problem with, you know, living in a capitalist society is we don't have the time to slow down and be like, hey man, are you okay? Right? So we just kind of go on. A lot of times people end up falling off or falling into issues, depressions and things like that. But we have to try to keep that in mind, is that, you know, people are generally seeing themselves as individual with an individual mindset. And the more we can become, think in a collective mindset, the healthier we can become. So individuality is about the uniqueness, your own special thing that you have that makes you Chaka or Key or whoever you are. That's individuality, but not individualism, where this is mine, that's it. I can't, no, you can't come in over here like this. This is my lawnmower. This is my thing. This is, that's individualism, and that creates competition, and it disallows connectivity. So uniqueness has to be celebrated, not isolated. If somebody comes and they're dressing different, you celebrate it. Hey man, I like, yo, what are you doing? You don't try to make them dress like you. You celebrate. Oh man, that's funky. Where'd you get those glasses at? Where'd you get that wig at? Oh man, I like that, right? That includes them, right? Their self-expression being accepted. You witnessing that, observing that, and giving them encouragement allows them to more fully be themselves. And at the end of the day, that's what we all want, to fully be ourselves and express who we are. Self-expression in a nutshell right here. This is Body Rock ATX. This is the energy. This is the joy that we want people to feel. We started Body Rock. We got here right before 2010 in December, like the last week of 2009. We met DJ Chorizo Funk in January of 2010, and we started Body Rock in February. We've been doing that party for 10 years, and literally tens of thousands of people have come and experienced this energy, this joyful energy that you see represented here. Body Rock, us creating this space for people, it allowed us to gain a foundation that allowed us to grow as creatives. Without Body Rock, I feel like our role would have been even harder to just establish ourselves. Once we had a party that we knew we could count on 200 and 300 people showing up every month, we could make decisions, different decisions and choices, because we knew that, shoot, we're gonna have this amount of money at least every month that we can work with. And we can now see, okay, this is gonna go over here, it's gonna go over here, it's gonna go over here. We knew that it was like a safety net, it was like a guarantee that we knew we could count on. So once we created the space and then created a community, that community then allowed us to grow. So again, like having that intention and not just being like, well, I want to, a lot of people, they have this concept in their mind that I want to create this and that, and it becomes like a business plan. That's not how we did this. It wasn't a business plan. It was a people plan. And coming from that place allowed us to experience the abundance that we established. And so Body Rock was huge for us in terms of giving us that foundation where we knew we could count on that every month. Because before that, it was like, we were just kind of scrambling every month, trying to make sure we could pay everything or put this bill off, for this month or a couple months, and then put something down on that. And that's how we were going, because we didn't have that thing, that one thing, or those two things that we knew we could count on every month. And Body Rock became that. And that's what allowed us to take more risks. That's what allowed us to make more plans for the future. So we're thankful for that. So art itself gets diminished in a world defined by economics and consumerism. But it's the most unifying thing that we have. It's the thing that's most effective. Go into a room and turn on a song, and that resonates with the majority of people in the room. It brings them together immediately, right? Talk about a favorite TV show or a favorite movie. These things, this is art bringing people together. It breaks down the barriers, right? But somehow it's important, but it's not valued, right? What's most effective at creating harmony gets the least respect somehow. unless it's selling tickets or unless it's selling records, you know. But just for the sake of valuing it in a consumerist society, it gets diminished. But art is medicine for the soul, and it's a mechanism to shift perspective. So that brings me into DAWA, which in Swahili, DAWA means medicine, and the acronym is Diversity, Awareness, and Wellness in Action. You can go to dawahills.org to learn more about that. I would really encourage you guys to learn more about it. But in a nutshell, I started DAWA in 2019, September, for my birthday. I threw a party because in our experience, you know, attempting to establish ourselves as artists, we went through a lot of hardship. There was a time where we couldn't afford a place to stay in Austin. We had to stay with friends for 6 months till we could find a place that was affordable. There was a time where we were on food stamps and relying on, you know, government aid to be able to buy groceries. But regardless, no matter what the struggle we were going through, there was always a community that we had that we could rely on that helped us out, supported us. There were times where people, you know, just wrote us a check. You know, people that we knew just wrote us a check, or they came to our house and like literally filled our refrigerator with groceries. But what happens when you don't have that safety net? What happens when you don't have that community, as a lot of people really don't have? Then, you know, bad things happen, right? And so DAWA is a fund that I established to basically create a safety net for folks of color that are musicians, artists, social workers, therapists, yoga instructors. We call it giving to the givers. People that are out in our community providing healing and just providing a service to people, people that are serving, giving. It's a assistance program that people can apply to and get direct cash assistance. It's not quite a hurry yet, but the idea is for it to be in a hurry. So you apply and you get it within weeks or even within a week. Right now, so we started in September. I threw a party. I raised $3,000. And since September, we've raised almost $40,000. And we opened applications in June 29th. And within 3 days, 72 hours, we had over 200 applications. So we had to close the applications down so that we could make sure that we're serving the people that apply. And literally going to be sending out the last of our first 100 $200 gift cards tomorrow. So we will have given out $20,000 as of tomorrow, and we're going to be giving out another $20,000 probably in September. The goal is to do another round before the end of the year. So again, having the financial stability and knowing the experience of dealing with financial hardship allowed me to come up with the idea, because when you have the stability, you can think about things outside of survival. You can think about what it means to thrive and what abundance could look like, or what a different path could look like. And so financial stability allowed me to sit back and say, look, like, we had this safety net. What about the people that don't? And what could I be a part of creating or help facilitate that could help folks that are going through this hard time? And so DAWA was my answer to that. And so that's something that exists right now and that we're growing, and you know that we know will continue to grow and prosper and help so many people in Austin. So we hope that, you know, you can go to the website and check it out and support, you know, DAWA Heals continuing to give to people in the community. So this is a card. This is an example of the card, the $200 cards that we sent out. And this is the quote here from somebody that received the $200. And she said, I was able to spend the money towards school supplies and household items. It's been hard during this pandemic, but this made it a lot easier for us, and we appreciate you all so much. Receiving that feedback is amazing, because, you know, I know that this struggle exists and it's out there, especially in a pandemic. In September, you know, I wanted to kick this fund off, and now, you know, it's even more necessary. People are even in more hardship now because of losing jobs and not being able to work, or just things changing so much through this pandemic. So it's powerful to get this type of testimony and know that, you know, this is having an impact in the community. I'm super excited about it. And, you know, another thing I want to say is that I hear a lot of times from nonprofits that they have trouble reaching out to the Black community. They don't know how to do it, or they can't do it, or Black people aren't responding. We got over 200 applications. 80% of those applications were from Black people. So what does that say? It says that you don't know how to outreach, you don't know how to reach those people, but they're out there and they're struggling. And so if you don't know how to do it, then you need to find the people that do, so that these folks can be helped and served. Don't make an excuse and say, well, we don't know how to do it. Well, figure it out. Go to those that do. Because like I said, 80%, you do the math, is about 170 people out of 200 that apply for this funding and are going to get it. And I'm proud of that. Oops. So on August 6th, you know, Empire reached out to me, and I don't know if it was June or July, about, you know, wanting to do something at Empire, like a live stream. And I came up with this idea, which basically paired what's going on right now, right? Venues are shuttered. Artists are not performing. Venue staff is not working. So this idea merged all those issues, and also did a fourth thing: it raised money for DAWA. So Black Everything Matters is basically a statement that, you know, Austin has long kind of ignored or underrepresented Black musicianship in Austin, and we wanted to claim space for Black musicianship and say that we're here and we're not going anywhere and that we're strong. And also at the same time, just celebrate Blackness in and of itself. They have some, you know, they say Black Lives Matter, but Black Lives Matter is the minimum. You know, Black lives forever. You know, Black lives excel. Black lives, you name it, matter is the minimum. So created this event, asked 7 artists to come, paid them well through sponsorship. The venue got paid, the artists got paid, and we raised $7,000 for DAWA. That's a win-win-win. That's what can be created when you're coming from I feel like a spiritual perspective, and not just thinking about what you can get, but just helping bring community together. And that's your goal, not just making money. It's fine if that's but you can make money and benefit the community. So I got to send a shout out to the sponsors. You guys can see the sponsors there. I'm not going to read all those, but again, 10,000 views, and on that night, artists got paid. You know, I'm sure that they've received attention, and I know that they also got tipped that night. It was an incredible night of music and celebration in Austin, and you can find out more about it. You can watch the live stream if you go to blackeverything.com, blackeverything, THANG.com. Up here is a article where you see the headline: Black Everything Matters accentuates Austin's wealth of Black talent. Yes, wealth of Black talent. Well said. So that leads us into a conference that we're getting ready to kick off in October. And it's called The Society Today. And it's based off of the what we see as the misdirection of what people talk about as the future. When people talk about the future, spirit and connection and connection with the earth is oftentimes separate from that. It's all about the gadgetry and the technology that we're going to be used and implemented. But we say, no, that's not the future. That's not our future. Our future has to be connected with the earth. It has to have a spiritual basis. And if it's not, then you know what? That's not where we're headed. And we as people of color have to define our future. We can't allow other people to define what our future is. So the Society Today, from October 2nd to the 4th, we're going to explore that idea. And we have people from all over the world that are going to be a part of this conversation. You know, botanists and urban farmers and, you know, people that have gone back to the land and living off the grid. We have yoga instructors, all types of people talking about health, from to video games and virtual reality. We have it all in there. And really like you guys to tune into that. You can get tickets. You can find your tickets at www.thesociety.today. And you can read the mission and vision. I'll read it real quick. The Society today designates now as the beginning of a new spiritual epoch. We have listened to the voices of our elders, ancestors, and the laws alive, and are moving towards reshaping the world around us, beginning with ourselves and our community. The Society today's mission is to establish methods of communing with one another and engaging with the world that are firmly rooted in earth-based spiritual practices, which demand that we recognize divinity in what we used to ignore, disregard, or even fear. This is a practice of transformation and transcendence. We aim to deprioritize whatever interrupts our connection to spirit, allowing ourselves to be whole. You can find out more at thesociety.today. We're really excited about this conference. We have a queen coming from Africa, from Benin, that's going to be in Austin. We're welcoming her here. It's going to be really exciting. We're doing a body rock, y'all. We're doing a body rock on Friday, 2-hour body rock. So we got that too. Check out, learn more at thesociety.today. This is a piece. I think this is one of the last slides here. It just represents, light bulb is a symbol of thinking, of brightness. And so, it's called Loving Thoughts. And I just want to encourage everyone out there that, when you choose the path of entrepreneurship, you choose the path of being a creative, it's going to be hard. Unless even if you do have the resources, a lot of times it's super hard if you don't, but even if you do, the path is not easy. And so you have to really guard your thoughts and what you tell yourself. So try to have loving thoughts about your experience and what you're experiencing. And notice how the more you shift towards loving thoughts and positive thoughts, the more things around you shift. So I want to encourage everyone to, believe in yourself, love yourself, treat yourself kindly, share kind words with yourself. Even if the world is telling you you're not valuable, you tell yourself you're valuable, and watch how things shift and watch how they change. You can find me on Instagram at Chaka Select, or you can email me if you have any questions or you want to talk more about some of the concepts or things that I brought up. Would love to hear from you, get some feedback from you. I'm not sure who's all here right now, but I'm gonna end it there and see if there's any questions or things that y'all wanna know.
Thank you so much. That was such good content, and you touched on of the many things that you do. And I just recapping, like, you do music, you do fashion, you do art, you connect with people. It's a lot. Like, how do you stay centered? I saw a lot of the tools that you use, but it's still it's a big commitment. And I've seen you. Let me turn on my camera so that you don't feel like you're talking to nobody.
Thank you. I've been longing to see other faces. It's like that was super hard the whole time. I'm like, oh God, I just want to see somebody else's expressions.
Sorry.
No,
yeah, it's just so powerful what you do, and I follow you on social media, and I have a lot of good friends in common with you, and it's just so inspiring, but at the same time can seem overwhelming. Like, how do you stay grounded, and other than being super intentional, that it's obviously that something that you do?
I mean, I think, it's part of knowing who I am, what I came here with. I've just always been the type of person that does multiple things at one time. And I don't go at them with the expectation that they're all going to be at the same level and it's going to have the same output. But I've always, since I was a kid, even when I was in school, if you look at my yearbook, it's I was in this club, that club, I was playing all the sports. I was, it's just I've just always been that person. And what I realized early on, thankfully, is that some of that was coming from my lack of receiving the nurturing that I need. So some of it was like wanting to achieve for other people and show that I was valuable, specifically my parents. So part of that, I had to unlearn some of that. Like part of that performance was for others. But despite that, I definitely am the type of person that just likes to do multiple things at once. And it has nothing to do with anybody else. It's like, you know, I'm drawing, you know, a picture and, you know, put that down, and then I might take that to a canvas. But at the same time, I'm like, you know, planning a festival. It's just, I don't know. I don't feel quite whole if I don't have multiple things going at once. And I have also this weird ability to just like, I think it drives my wife crazy because she'll be like, you know, are you really gonna do that? Like, if I have it in my mind to do it, I'm just gonna hold on until it's done. And that's part of me too. It's like I'm just like super persistent, steadfast, whatever you want to call it. Where it's like, if I said I'm gonna do it, if I told myself I'm gonna do it, like right now it's roller skates. I've been saying I'm gonna get roller skates for like 3 weeks. I'm gonna get them. Like, it might happen 3 months from now, but like I'm gonna get those skates and I'm gonna skate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just who I am. Like, I might have said it 3 years ago. You're gonna see me do it. It's gonna happen. It may not happen in a time that makes sense to you, but if I say I'm gonna do it, if it's in my heart to do it, I'm gonna do it. And so that's just, I don't know. That's just, I guess, my DNA and just what I was born with, what I came to this earth with.
Yeah, but also if you have like that wonderful community and that team and results, you're constantly seeing the results of your work. Like that's a good push, and that's a good motivation to keep on going.
I mean, I think for me first, it's just like just needing to express and just doing it before any of that. Like, you know, because like when I was a kid, there was really no audience, and we didn't have Instagram. I was just drawing and doing it because I wanted to do it. And I would, you know, draw, and then I'll go outside and shoot hoops. And then I would, you know what I mean, and go ride my bike. And I did all these things all at once. And it wasn't about anybody else, but just like things that I wanted to do to express and just feel alive, right? And so I'm still that person, but when you become adult, you have to figure out a way to turn that into something that can help you, you know, have a roof over your head and put clothes on your back and feed yourself. So that's where it changes. You have to try to find a way to turn those passions into something that can, you know, benefit you financially.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions? We have a couple comments. Thank you so much. What an inspiration you are, says Amy. Mary Beth Cassia says, inspiring career and presentation. Thank you. Yeah, if you have any questions, you have Chaka here. He's doing all the things at once, so make sure you take advantage. Okay, we have a question here from Andrea Millard. I'm impressed by the way you leverage your work with businesses like Lululemon and Lyft to amplify your values. How do you figure out if they will be aligned with you and support you, especially if you're pushing them to be better?
I think for me, like, if you're doing what you're doing, like they came to us. They saw what we were doing with Body Rock and other things, and they felt like we embodied some of the values that they had. And so when they came to us, then it's like, okay, you want to work with us? Now you have to work with us on our terms. We don't just work with you because you have money. You know, we work with you because you have something to offer our community that we represent. So if we can have that understanding, then, you know, we're down to work and collaborate. But this partnership is not going to be, you know, one-sided. It's going to be a true partnership and a true collaboration. And so for me personally, every time I meet, you know, a company, and I have the opportunity to talk to somebody that's in a decision-making role, I try to establish a relationship so that once we have that, then we can develop a friendship or something over time, so that you're watching what I'm doing, you're seeing what I'm doing, and you're connecting with it, hopefully. And then through that connection, you know, I can say, hey, look, you know, we're doing this party for Richard Overton. He's 112 years old. His family needs money to keep him in his house. You know, we want to just help spread the word. And because I have that relationship with them, they're more willing to say, okay, I think we can do that, as opposed to just sending a cold email or just, I have this idea. I don't usually ask anybody for anything if I don't have a relationship with them. Occasionally it happens, but I prefer to like have an entree. So with Lift, the entree was us performing for their South by Southwest party.
Mm-hmm.
You know, while I'm at the party, you know, I met people there, and I'm like, you know, let's just keep in touch, exchange emails, phone, whatever. And I'm not asking anything until I have something that I feel like we can really, really partner on. And only after I feel like we have a relationship. That's how I operate, because I feel like that's where the real transformational stuff happens.
Yeah.
As opposed to just an exchange, like I'm just gonna fund your party or whatever, and then we just part ways, right? Like, let's develop a relationship over time. We have a great, one of the most supportive companies here has been Tito's.
Oh, yeah.
We have a great relationship with them that we've developed over time. At first, it was just like they were just giving us, you know, bottles of Tito's for events. Over time, you know, it developed to where they're supporting almost anything we ask or everything that we do. We get some support from Tito's because they see the value and the impact that we're having, and they want to be a part of it. Yeah,
we're super lucky also to work with Tito's. We have the amazing like prize that they give every year to artists, and yeah, it's a very good relationship, and it's very good to know that someone local is invested in its community. Like, that's where it changes, and that what gives all this value, to know that they're investing, they're putting their money, they're putting their time, and just growing and putting the money, which is like something that we definitely need as artists.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to be aware that, you know, but I think the key, you know, what I've seen in some of my favorite artists is that they compromise certain things and then they end up destroying themselves. Right. So I feel like what I've learned is that, like, you know, they may have reached a level where you are aware of them, but you don't realize the sacrifice that they made and the things that they had to do, compromise either their personal beliefs or whatever to get there. And then they end up falling apart. And so for us, it's like we would rather just maintain who we are at all times and always have our relationship based on a mutual respect, you know? And so like the gains are a little bit more gradual and a little bit more organic. But our vision is long-term. You know, our vision is not like just like immediate gratification. That's where capitalism comes in. Capitalism is about like what you can get right now, how you exploit it. Oh, you got an idea, let's just squeeze all the juice out of it as fast as we can, right? And we're not on that page.
Awesome. I got another question. Would you say also from a business perspective, it's not taking things personally includes making choices that may upset people? Yeah, that's a great question.
I'm not sure I understand the question. Could you probably paraphrase?
From a business perspective, and not taking things personally includes, like, if you're making these choices and like, what I understand, it's detaching yourself and just making conscious decisions, just knowing that it may upset people, that you're not engaging to different levels.
I mean, look, people are gonna make choices about who you are, like from a distance, regardless. Like, you know, I always, whether people, you know, some people believe in Jesus or whatever, it doesn't matter. But they hated on Jesus. Like he got nailed to a cross, right? Sure. You know, MLK, you know, was just speaking about things that were true, and he was assassinated, right? So if you don't fit into people's worldview, they're going to judge you or even possibly, you know, take your life, and that's real. So you can't make everyone happy. What you have to do is you have to live with yourself. You have to wake up in the morning every day and look at yourself and say, am I doing my best? Is this my best?
Yeah.
And am I living the principles that I believe in? Right. And so like, I have to speak to, you know, coming from an Afro spiritual perspective, I have to face my ancestors. I have to, you know, look at them and would they be proud of what I'm doing? I have to ask myself that, you know, and again, that's coming from a spiritual perspective. Again, a capitalist perspective is different. It's like, you just get what you can get as fast as you can, or however way you got to do it. And it doesn't matter if you poison the river, doesn't matter how many trees you cut down, profit is the bottom line. And so the bottom line for me is my happiness and my feeling of being balanced and whole. That's my bottom line.
Yeah. Once I heard, like, who are you being faithful to? Like whenever you're making a decision, are you being faithful to yourself, to money, to like who are you committing to? And I think that's a good practice in making hard decisions. Anyway, it's being late and we took a lot of your time today. Wendy says, thank you, Chaka and Coca. So great to connect and see people in action with positive energy. I agree. I'm very, very grateful that you allowed us to have some of your time and experience here at the Creative Standard Workshop. It's so important to have your voice and to just follow what you're doing. It's not only fun follow you around, it's also very gratifying, and what you were saying, you connect to all the great people and to different communities that, yeah, it's sometimes like we don't think of or that they're not so obvious to us, but the fact that we have a connector as strong as you, like it's a great joy and a great asset. So I really appreciate you taking the time.
Definitely. I thank everybody that tuned in. I wish I could see you, but hopefully there's some friends out there that watch the stuff and maybe you learn a little bit more about what's behind it, because it's easy to just think that things happen because people are just driven, but you don't always understand what's behind the drive. And I think it's important for people out there to know that you can have integrity and you can think about people and you can think about your effect and your impact and still be successful. Yeah. I think what we're taught is success is basically being a very narcissistic, self-absorbed type of person, and that's Donald Trump, and that's just the extreme of exploitative capitalism. And so like what I want to encourage people to know is that you can have that integrity, and you don't have to step on anybody. You don't have to degrade anybody or dehumanize anybody to achieve what you want to achieve. So it's possible, and we're just getting started. Like the things that people are seeing now are just the beginning of our vision for what we want to create in the world. And I want to encourage everybody to tune into the conference. Yeah. So tune into the society.today. We're just getting started with that. We have leaders, like I said, from all around the world. We have a queen from Africa that's going to come and is going to invocate the event and close the event. So it's going to be a really special thing, and it's in Austin. Who would have thought this type of thing would be happening in Austin? So please spread the word. Please celebrate that. Let people know that the future is being broadcast and being directed live from Austin, Texas.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And also tomorrow we have I met Everett and Paloma Mayorga in conversation here in Zoom for coffee chats at 11 a.m. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you there too. Good night, everybody, and thank you so much.
Peace.